Full Throttle Arizona. Full Throttle Arizona with Bruce St. James.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Full Throttle Arizona. I'm Bruce St. James, and we get a chance to talk about all things racing here in Arizona, including some of the amazing drivers who are out there doing it on the national stage. Joining us right now is one of those drivers hailing from Chandler, Arizona. It is Ricky Thornton Jr. Ricky, great to have you with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Can I tell you that I'm outraged? So I'm going to start with, I'm outraged that every time I drive into Chandler and it says, welcome to Chandler, it doesn't say home of Ricky Thornton Jr. I think this is a horrible oversight on their part.
I mean, that would be pretty cool every time I drive by to see that.
Well, you from roots, I mean, you literally started racing, just around here, around the valley. And I know a lot of people know that you are as accomplished as they come on the national stage in late models and modified. So it's really cool to see hometown boy do good. You get a sense of that, right? Arizona's cheering for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, growing up Manzanita Speedway, Canyon Speedway Park, I feel like anytime I get to go back to Arizona, and really not even if it's racing, just hanging out, I see a lot of old family and friends, and I think they're just as excited as I am anytime something goes well.
You just finished up a pretty successful weekend in the Dome there, indoor racing in St. Louis, and let's see. You won your prelim night in the late model, second place Saturday night. Sorry, bring that up. But you won the modified main. That is some interesting racing. Is that a nice way to put it?
I think someone said it's fighter jets inside a gymnasium. So it's small, it's crazy, and really, I think there's 30,000 fans there this year. So it's exciting.
Can I tell you that just watching it, like from my vantage point, it looks like iRacing with a bunch of 12-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's on full send into every corner.
I feel like every year it gets worse too. The first couple of years there's a lot of take and give, and this year it's all give, and you hope the guy can't retaliate.
I'm going to give you a little credit though. You are far from the dirtiest guy out there. As a matter of fact, you move forward, on your nights, and your car still had some body work left on it. You can't say that about a lot of other guys.
I mean, obviously, you run hard and you don't want to get into a guy, so you try not to. But that's probably one of the shows a year that we go to where you go into it knowing you're probably going to get ran over, and you're probably going to run someone over. So, like I said, you try not to. And I feel like for me, my prelim night kind of played into my hand where I could run hard enough and not have to run people over. So then whenever it came down to the end of the race, their cars were all tore up and mine wasn't. So I kind of had the upper hand at that point.
Yeah, it actually looked like a race car at the end of the night. Congratulations. Not like it had just been through a demolition derby. But, that's an odd race. I get it. And what an interesting way to end the late model season. But you know what? You are rapidly becoming so much more than just a guy that races with fenders. And that gets into my world. And I want to start by saying something. Last year, I have been extremely impressed at how quickly you've adapted to open wheel cars. I saw you run some Silver Crown races and then saw you run the sprint car at the end of the year at the Western World. And I mean this as a complete compliment. There aren't a lot of late model guys who can jump in a sprint car and run up front with the national guys. It just doesn't happen. And it was pretty amazing to watch. What did the Western World feel like from your point of view?
I mean, exactly what you just said. Really, there isn't a whole lot of people I feel like that can get in more than one or two cars and be competitive. And I've been fortunate enough where whenever I do get in something else, it's always been really top-notch equipment, which I think is a big part of it too. But kind of going to Western World, my goal is just to make the race both nights. Like that, I figured if we can do that, like that's a success. So to be able to go and get a heat win and two top fives is kind of something I really wasn't expecting.
Well, I'm not going to say I wasn't expecting it, but we were all pretty impressed with the fact that you were running against guys who at that point of the year were probably on their 70th sprint car race of the year. And you just showed up going, okay, how's this thing work again?
Pretty much. Well, and like the tough part for me is the way you sit in a sprint car is so different compared to everything else. So it's like the steering, okay, like that's different, but it's steering, so it's not that bad. But just the way you sit upright and the pedals are up and down instead of forward and back, like there's just so much I had to learn so quick. And luckily, having RJ Johnson and Kyle Cummins as teammates definitely isn't going to hurt you.
No, not at all. Yeah, two guys that are used to running up front, to say the least. I want to ask you a little bit more about the differences. It strikes me, and for anybody that's watched dirt track racing, modifieds, late models, you tend to drive them on, I'm going to call it like you drive it on the right front. You drive it in the corner on the right front, and you get the car to rotate. You can't drive a sprint car on the right front. Well, at least you can't do it for many laps in a row. How's that? You can do it once or twice, and then they're going to be picking you out of the fence. How did you manage to get a car set up to fit your style?
I would say probably the biggest thing that helped was honestly being with RJ. We give him crap because he runs around the bottom all the time, but he likes his car tighter. He likes to kind of run it straighter, where I feel like for me, that's how I wanted it to run. And at the same time, obviously way different power and weight difference between the midget and say my micro, but I tend to run better in non-wing stuff where you kind of have to be a little bit sideways, where I knew getting in the sprint car, like just the one other time I had ran a sprint car, it was one of the Challenge Cup races, Casa Grande, a long time ago. And
I remember it, by the way. I was in it.
The harder I ran it, the better it was. So like I just had that in the back of my mind, like, all right, just make sure you get sideways, getting down the straightaway, getting in the corner. Otherwise, you're going to put yourself in the fence, and your weekend's going to be over. So yeah. I just tried to keep that in the back of my mind, and obviously with having a practice night, that helped a ton. I probably had 5 or 6 different drivers that were behind me during practice, like, hey, looks like you need to do this or you need to do that, and I kind of just tried to put it all together, and it just kind of worked out for us.
I think that also shows a level of respect that people have for you. The fact that they're willing to come up and even have conversations with you like that, besides being your teammates, outside of them, I think you really did open some eyes in the open wheel world that this guy can flat drive race cars. Doesn't matter what kind.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was a level of respect or they didn't want to have to start next to me and me destroy them in turn one.
Let's make sure he knows where he's headed at the end of the straightaway, right?
Yeah, well, and just like you said, so when I run any of the stock car stuff, modified, late model, all that, you drive it straight, you get turned, and then you drive off the corner, where if you try to drive the sprint car off the throttle, turn left, get in the corner, like you're never going to turn, you're going to go through the wall and you're done. So that part of it, you just have to know going in, like, okay, it's way different. And I feel like once you get to the center of the corner, every race car is the same. It's just all about getting traction and driving off the corner. It's just, what do you got to do to get to that point?
Yeah. Well, again, you've done an amazing job adapting to it in such a short period of time. Looking forward to next year, are you going to be doing some more open wheel racing, or are you pretty well focused on your late model career?
I would say a little bit of all. I'm going to go to shootout and run my micros, go to Chili Bowl. I think I've ran Chili Bowl 4 or 5 years now in a row, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it got me hooked. So I go back every year. And then after that, we'll run hard late model for probably 95% of the season. I think they're going to leave the sprint car run for Western World there. My seat's in it. Everything's ready to go. So if I have an off weekend, I can go race. But then on top of that, Bernie Indy Race Parts, like he's got his wing stuff sitting there. So you might see me. It could be 10 races or it could be 2 races. You never know. It just kind of depends on our late model schedule. I figure if a guy's willing to spend the amount of money it takes to go do it right, there's no reason to be like, hey, I want to go do something else.
Ricky, we talk about off weekends, which I can't imagine you have very many of those. For people who don't know, kind of when you talk about a schedule, I know people ask me all the time, they go, so when's the racing season? And I say every month but December, really. But even now we have races in December. So How many races do you get in a year?
I would say probably the last 2 or 3 years I've averaged between 120 to 140. This year we were about 145 or so.
Oof.
And it's kind of funny because we'll race, and then we'll rain out one weekend. And then, like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do normal people do on a weekend or even during the week? Like, I'm just used to being in a race car all the time.
Right. Yeah. What do people who don't race do on Saturday nights? I haven't the foggiest idea.
Yeah, well, like, it's like, okay, we can go to a movie. I'm like, well, that's going to kill an hour and a half. Now, what do we do for the rest of the day?
It really is tough once you get bit with the racing bug. And obviously you got bit at a very, very young age. I want to come back a little bit. And again, growing up in Chandler, hardly the hotbed of racing, if I'm going to throw out there. Your family race, though. I mean, you got into this because you were surrounded by it. Tell me a little about that.
Yeah, like my dad started racing in the late 80s. My mom raced also, so it's actually how they met. So my mom was really good, and she raced up until, I want to say, 89, early 90, and then that's whenever I was born. And then she kind of put it on the back burner. And my dad's raced, like I said, from late 80s up until he's still racing now. So it's about everything we've ever known is racing, and we'd take your occasional fishing trips and stuff like that. But it's my mom's family, all of them race, her grandpa, his grandpa, just all down the line. So I got my older brother, Jeremy, he's raced forever. My younger brother, Justin, he's raced forever. So I'm the only one really that has took it to this level. But growing up, there was two things I wanted to do. I either wanted to play baseball or I wanted to race cars. I played baseball for 10 years, and I got to the point where I had to decide, do I go to college and pursue that route, or do I try to make a race car driver? And I just figured, not that it'd be any easier, but I had more connections on the racing world than I did the baseball world. So I just kind of went that way and just kind of kept digging and finally was able to make a career out of it.
Well, baseball's loss is racing's gain, to say the least, because you have done absolutely amazing things out there, and you've won some huge races as well. I mean, I don't know how to put a finer point on it. I mean, me being more on the open wheel and the sprint car guy, we don't have a lot of big races. Like, we look at you guys, and you know, it's unbelievable the amount of money that you guys race for on a regular basis. And us poor sprint car guys are salivating at that. What series have you decided what you're going to run full time next year?
Yep. So we're going to go back and run Lucas Oil late model series again. For us, it'll be my 5th year running with them, 5th or 6th year. And we've just built such a notebook. I've been to all these racetracks, and it seems like every time you can go to a place 3 or 4 times, it's like you finally figured out what you need and what you can fix. So for us, that's what we're going to do. I think nothing against the other series. Like I said, it's just for us, it's easier to go back to places multiple times.
That makes sense. But I know you're going to kind of explain to me what January is going to look like for you, because it sounds like it might get a little bit complicated. We have a huge late model event going on at Central Arizona Raceway right here in Casa Grande. But there's also a huge midget event going on, and they overlap in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Chili Bowl. I'm going to be in Tulsa. Where are you going to be?
Probably both.
Okay.
As bad as it sounds. I'll go to Shootout, obviously, the first week of January. Then we'll get ready for Chili Bowl. I'll practice. I think so. I'm gonna Saturday night. I'll be in Arizona, run the late model. Sunday, I fly to Tulsa, practice, run Race Champions Monday, and then race probably Tuesday. Fly back to Arizona, race again Wednesday, and then fly back to Chili Bowl for hopefully Saturday. So a lot of miles, but if it works out right, it can be pretty epic.
It could definitely be pretty epic. And again, there's no shade on any of the other late model guys, and some of them do come to the Chili Bowl and run. None of them run really like you. I'll give McCready a little bit of a pass. He had a heck of a couple years there. But of the new crop of guys, you've really taken to the midgets as well. What would it mean to win a Chili Bowl for Ricky Thornton Jr., a driller?
That's the one I got circled. I had two of them, and this year I was able to knock one of them off, the World 100 at Eldora. So I feel like the Chili Bowl is the other major one that I really, really want to win. I've been close to getting a driller on the micro side, but not the midget side. I've been a few B mains, couple C mains. It's like, man, if I could just that one little step, if I didn't make those one or two mistakes in a prelim night, that I could put myself that much further ahead. And that's what I love about going to the Chili Bowl. It's so hard. It's so competitive. You can't make those big mistakes that cost you one or two positions, because in the end, you just cost yourself 4 or 5 rows come the next race. So it would be pretty special. I feel like they're other than maybe McCready, I don't know if anyone's won a big late model race in Chili Bowl. So I was kind of hoping I'd get lucky enough to win the Dome this past weekend, because I know no one's won the Dome and Chili Bowl. So it'd be pretty cool.
So I have a question. So you race with, and certainly, again, I know more from the open wheel side, but we're starting to see it more from the late model side, kind of the path towards the next step of racing. Has it been in your mind? Have you had opportunities to go pavement racing? Has it been something you've thought about doing? We see more pavement guys coming back and wanting to race with you now. You only lapped Carson Hocevar a couple times, but have you thought about going the other direction? And do those opportunities come up for late model guys?
Whenever I first got going, like I started in 2005 around Arizona and all that, like back then I really wanted to go like try to get to a NASCAR route. But I think the more I've been involved in, like, especially how we do it now, I've had opportunities to go asphalt racing, but they've never been the right opportunity. Like, I figure if I ever got down that path, I'd want it to be in some kind of development team where I knew there was an opportunity to make it to the top NASCAR level, not just, hey, I went and did an ARCA race or a K&N race and really just have no ends on it. Where I feel like in the late model world, if you can grind and get to that top level and race a World of Outlaws or Lucas Oil and all in that, it's the top of where you're going to go in a late model. And I feel like unless you're crazy like you're Kyle Larson or someone like that, you're not going to make the amount of money that it takes to get to that top spot in NASCAR.
Yeah, that's fair, without a doubt. And those spots are few and far between, it seems, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see who's going to be the next one to break through. We shall find out. Ricky, I really appreciate your time, seriously, and we look forward to watching an amazing January of racing for you and all the frequent flyer miles. Let's make sure everybody at Sky Harbor gets the heck out of your way when you're hurrying to or from a plane. You know, we got to get you to the next race, and we wish you loads of luck, and it'd be great to watch you win a bunch of races that week, both in a midget and in the late model. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate it. And thanks for having me on.
We appreciate having Ricky Thornton Jr. join us on this week's episode of Full Throttle Arizona. And boy, is he making Arizona proud on the national stage. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and maybe even leave a comment. Who should we talk to next? Let us know. I'm Bruce St. James for Full Throttle Arizona.
Thanks for watching Full Throttle Arizona with Bruce St. James. Click the box to watch more from KTAR News and tap the button in the middle to subscribe.